Hello folks, my name is Carl and welcome back to the channel. So it's been a while since I dropped a video, and that's because sometimes family calls and we have no other option but to answer that call. So I hope you guys understand. Starting this week, we're going to have a new video every week as usual. I know many of you have sent me emails and messages that I'm here to respond to. Some are even in the comment section, but I am going to take my time to respond to each and every one of them. Okay? All right. Now, in today's video, we're going to be discussing 7 things you should never do in a Canadian job interview, whether you're in Canada or applying from abroad. And listen, this includes phone interviews, Zoom interviews, and those quick calls from employers that many newcomers think are casual, when really they are part of the screening process. So stay till the end of the video, and I'll also give you a what to do instead checklist to help you shine in every interview. Now, before we begin, let me clear a big misunderstanding concerning phone interviews. Now, many people, especially those applying from outside Canada or even in Canada, think that the first phone call from an employer is just an informal chat. You are wrong, okay? That initial call is often your first real interview, okay? So whether it's a recruiter or it's a hiring manager, they are screening you with that call. So they are trying to decide if they should move on with you. So here's what you do. Pick up professionally if you're job hunting. Okay, so if you're job hunting, make sure you answer the phone professionally at all times. You've got nothing to lose. Okay, now also you do not have that luxury of saying this call is from an unknown number, I'm not going to answer it. You don't have that luxury. Okay, if you're job hunting, you never know who is calling. So pick up professionally if you're job hunting and pick up all calls. If you pick up the call and then you realize it's a scam call, you can always hang up. There's that option as well, right? So make sure that you pick up professionally. Now, if you miss the call, listen to the voicemail carefully and return the call as soon as possible. And when you answer, sound confident. You know, hi, this is Carl speaking. Do not say, hello, who is there? You know, don't answer like you're half asleep, right? Or you're unconcerned or you're already irritated by the call, right? That's not a good sign. So you can always have a short intro that you practice for these moments. Something like, I'm glad you called. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm happy to speak now if you have a few minutes. Those are professional, intros. And this also goes for Zoom interviews or team interviews as well, right? They are just as important as the in-person interviews. So never treat those initial phone calls as casual, okay? Now, let's dive in. The first one is don't arrive late, even to a phone call or a Zoom interview or a video interview, whatever platform they're using, okay? Late is late, okay? Even on the phone, even on the video call, late is late. So if your interview is at 11 a.m., that doesn't mean you start preparing at 11, okay? So if it's a Zoom or a phone call, be ready 10 to 15 minutes before, okay? Always find a quiet place. Check your phone signal or internet. Keep a notepad and copy of your resume nearby, okay? And there are certain examples where someone had or someone received a phone interview. They received a phone call on a noisy street and they never heard back. Okay, the recruiter or the employers, they don't really care because they have many people to go through. So if they call you and it's a noisy street and something of that sort, they're just going to move on. Okay, so be intentional and treat every moment as part of the evaluation. Now, let me share a personal experience. I'd applied for a job and I was expecting some calls, right? So I got a call and guess where I was? I was in the gym and it was noisy. So what I had to do was I had to exit the gym, run quickly to the next building where I knew they had a quiet lobby, and enter that lobby and get in a corner that is quieter and receive the call. So if you're applying for a job, be prepared to do everything, okay? All right. Now, the second one we're going to talk about is don't underdress or overdress, even on camera. Yes, so even on Zoom, how you dress matters, Okay, now I'm sure that many of the Zoom interviews are for, work from home jobs and all of that. So you may be tempted to attend that phone or that Zoom interview in casual clothes. That could work in a very, very bad way for you. Okay, so how you dress matters. Don't assume that they cannot see you, or it's just a phone call, it's just a Zoom interview. Maybe the cameras don't have to be on, blah blah blah. Now, most employers are going to specify if they want the cameras on or off. If it's off, good for you. If it's supposed to be on, just make sure you don't underdress, especially, right? And don't overdress as well. So always, I would say that just even if it's off camera, just try to behave professionally. Okay, I would advise that, sit upright, be alert, dress professionally. It affects your voice and energy. Okay, that's what I think, right? So, and for Zoom, if it's going to be a video call where the camera is going to be on, then make sure you have a clean and a tidy background. Make sure you have good lighting. Make sure you have your camera at eye level. Okay, and make sure that you have a business casual outfit at minimum. Okay, at minimum, let it be a business casual outfit. Don't go with some t-shirts and stuff like that. Okay, so again, what you wear affects your mindset. Okay, dress like you're already in that role that you want. Okay, now the third thing that you should not do at an interview is don't speak negatively about past employers. Okay, now this one is universal. In Canada, it's even extra important. Okay, Canadian employers value positivity, diplomacy, and discretion. Okay, so if you badmouth your old boss, they wonder what you're going to say about them later. Okay, so just try to frame things constructively. Even negative experiences, just frame it constructively. All right, so you can say something along the lines of, I was ready for a new challenge, right? Or I wanted to grow in a more collaborative environment. Those are more positive than bad mouthing your previous employee. So your tone also comes through more clearly online for video interviews and all of that, right? So keep your body language calm and professional. So this goes for Zoom or in person. Make sure that your body language is calm and very, very professional. Now, tip number 4, don't interrupt or dominate the conversation. Okay, now especially in phone and Zoom interviews, talking too much or interrupting is a common mistake, and also for in-person interviews as well. So make sure that you always listen fully before responding. Okay, listen fully before you respond. Use a 1 to 2 second pause after the question, then speak. Okay, 1 to 2 seconds. 1, 2, then you speak. Okay, can even help you to gather your thoughts more clearly. Now, some have recommended the STAR method to stay on track. That is STAR. So S for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for results. So this tip helps you not to speak too much. Right now, for example, if you're asked the question, tell me about a challenge that you solved at work, right? And you want to go through this process. You start with a very clear situation. Talk about the task at hand, the actions taken, and the results achieved. Okay, you don't want to spend like 3 minutes giving a backstory. I mean, right? They don't have the time to listen to that. So just keep that in mind as well. Now, tip number 5, don't ask about salary or time off too early. Okay, so I know money matters, right? So I mean, it's important that you talk about that. But if you bring it up too early, it can look like you care more about benefits than the job. Okay, so the rule of thumb is wait until they bring it up, because it is definitely going to come up. There's not going to be any offer without the salary being talked about, right? There's not going to be any finalization of a contract without the salary being talked about. So it is going to come up, all right? So wait until they bring it up, or until a second interview, or at the formal offer stage. Okay, so at those points you can talk about the salary. So don't bring it up too early, so that looks like you're more concerned about the money. even though, like, I agree with you, it's important, right? Now, for phone screenings as well, you may be asked about your expectations, right? So keep it general, okay? So something along the lines of, I'm open depending on the role and responsibilities. That's something you can say. Or, I've done some research and I trust that we'll find a fair range. Others have also advised that you probably are better off giving a range than a specific number, okay? Do some more research, right? Do some more research about the role you're applying for. It gives you a fair idea of what you ask for and all of that when it comes to the salary negotiations. Now, tip number 6, don't come unprepared, even for phone calls, okay? Now, lack of preparation is a deal breaker for any employer, okay? Now, when they see that you are unprepared, you are done, all right? And that's even more for international applicants. So know the basics. And when I talk about knowing the basics, what I mean is read about the company, know the company values, know the services and products, know who you're going to be speaking to or who you're speaking to, that, conversation leading up to the interview. Okay. And this really, really helps because I'm going to share a personal experience. I remember I attended a job interview once, and what I did before attending the interviews, I went to the company website, read about the company and some people at the company, including the person that I've been talking to. And guess what? When I got to the interview, the one I had been speaking to was not even going to be at the interview. But those at the interview, I had already read about them on the company website. Okay, so I was able to interact with them and ask some good questions or smart questions, which I'm going to be talking about just now. So again, prepare some 2 to 3 smart questions that you're going to be asking at the end. For example, what do you love about working here? That's a smart question. And that's the question that I asked. Okay, so I asked that question and referenced the fact that I had read about them on the company website and seen that they had been here, they had been at the company for a number of years, and all of that. And that really helped the conversation. Okay, so what do you love about working here is one, and how does success look like in this role after 6 months? Okay, so those are some of the questions you can ask. And a tip that I can give here is that you can have a tip sheet. If it's a phone interview where you're not going to be on camera, you can have a tip sheet, so you can refer to that. If it's a Zoom interview or Teams interview, others have said that they've been able to put their tip sheet just under the camera. Hey, whatever works for you, okay? All I'm going to say is just keep it natural, okay? Don't just read from it, just keep it natural. Now, the very, very last one, I'm going to say, don't lie or overinflate your experience. Okay, so in Canada, employers take integrity seriously, and many do background checks. Okay, I've had to do background checks, so I know what I'm talking about. They are going to do those background checks, right? So don't fake your credentials or job titles or years of experience. Okay, don't do that. I know there is advice out there, where people say, oh, it's good to lie on your CV. Well, it can backfire, okay? It can backfire. So just instead of just lying and overinflating everything, or even talking about credentials you don't have, just focus on your transferable skills. Use real examples from past roles and emphasize your ability to learn and adapt, okay? And another thing that I'm going to include here is make sure that whatever small achievement, now you may think it is small, but whatever achievement you made at your previous roles, make sure you highlight and emphasize them properly. Because there are things that you may have done at your previous role and you're like, oh, this is something small, I'm not going to talk about it. Talk about it, okay? Make it sound good, right? So emphasize it, right? Rather than just putting things on your resume that are just fake or lies. I don't recommend that, okay? But hey, it's your resume, okay? So make sure that you do that. And for example, even if you're asked about something you've not used before, you can say something like, I haven't used this tool directly, but I've worked with similar systems and I'm confident that I can learn quickly. So you're now letting the employer know that you have the ability to learn and to adapt. okay? Rather than lying that you can use that software or whatever system, and then they find out that you can't, you have no idea. All right, so that's what I'm gonna say there. All right, so that was the very, very last one. So now let's recap the right move to help you ace your interviews in Canada, whether it's over the phone, on Zoom, or in person. Okay, yeah, a few things you can do. Be early, so be ready 10 to 15 minutes ahead. Test your audio, lighting, background, right? Dress smart, even for Zoom. Okay, even for video interviews. Dress smart, look the part, feel the part. Okay, stay positive, never speak badly about past jobs, keep it professional, be a good listener, and pause, use the STAR method like I spoke about, and let the interviewer lead. Right? 5, delay salary questions. Okay, show interest in the role first, negotiate later. Okay, so absolutely negotiate. Okay, negotiate your salary, right? But I'm saying, show interest in the role first, and then you negotiate later. Also, show them that you care and stand out from the lazy applicants. Okay, so research the company, do a good research about the company. Shows them that you care, you really care about the role, about the company. It helps you stand out from the lazy applicants. Okay, lastly, be honest and strategic. Okay, sell your strengths, but never fake it. Okay, if you have a strength, sell it as much as you can. Okay, sell those strengths. Don't belittle yourself in any way, right? But don't fake it. Okay, so you can practice by recording yourself answering common questions and review your tone, clarity, and confidence. That's a tip that I recommend for you. Okay, and when you do that over and over again, you realize that you get more comfortable when you actually attend an interview. So there you have it, 7 things you should never do in a Canadian job interview, plus exactly what to do instead. So whether you're in Canada or applying from abroad, remember that first phone call matters. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. That first phone call really, really matters. It could be the reason you get shortlisted or forgotten. Okay, treat every interaction like it's the interview, because guess what? It is the interview. All right, so just be very, very professional. Now, comment below. I'd like to hear from you guys. Have you ever messed up a phone interview? Let's talk about it. Always, I encourage you to like, share, and hit the subscribe button if you found this helpful. It really helps the channel to grow, and there's more where this came from. So I'll see you in the next one, and like I said, we're going to be having new videos every week as usual. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.